Howdy, fellas. This is Franklin Day again back on YouTube. I'd like to present another YouTube bill I've done. This is the Revell 1/32 scale F4F Wildcat. And right here is the model itself, the finished product. The undersides of the model itself is white. Top surfaces are intermediate blue. And the way this is kind of like a gimmick kit in a way. I preserved the gimmicks because it gives the model character. The wings fold on this. On this section right here, on this portion right here, you have two inspection service panels. These are removable. You can see the white cyclone engine in view of the detail inside. The engine itself is pretty well detailed. And this is the first series Wildcat that was produced during the beginning of the Second World War. The kit itself is ancient, very ancient. No comparison, no cigar compared to the 1/32 scale trumpeter kit that was just released. I would highly suggest and recommend getting that kit. The Revell kit leaves a lot to desire. This thing was overloaded with rivets. It's state of the art back in that day, but they didn't have rivets like that on this aircraft. So my suggestion is, anybody who tackles this kit, it's a good kit, don't get me wrong, it has its faults. But before you build this kit, I highly suggest you get some wet and dry sandpaper and plenty of water and sand down the rivets off the model before you build it. It'll make life a lot more easier for you. And the only fit issue is on the fuselage. It presents a gap on the bottom. And again, because the molds are old, need to be retooled. Using your favorite filler putty, you can use that to eliminate the same. And prime and paint your model. An overall perspective, I like the kit. It brings back memories, and it's a good kit. There's other ones out there too in 1/48 scale. Tamiya, for example, is an excellent kit. I highly recommend getting that one. Monogram built one many years ago, back in 1960, 61, I guess. And the features of that kit was this folding wings, pop turn, and you had a couple of figures. That's all you got. It wasn't a bad kit for its day. Back in those days, you got what you got, and that was it. And you're happy with it. And this kit came out just at the beginning of the 1970s, 1971 to be exact. I remember seeing it on the model shelves when I was in the Navy, come home from leave. I went to the PX, they had a couple of them in there, so I bought one of them and put it in my locker. I went home to leave, I sent it home and I worked on it. The first release of the Revell 1/32 scale was a Battle of Midway version. It was all intermediate blue with your red and white striped tails on here. On your roundels, you had the meatball in the center of your roundel stars, and that was that. This ain't much different compared to the 71 release. The only difference is the decals. And the decals in this kit now, the kit they gave you, they stink. They're terrible. Terrible. So go microscale decals. I wish I'd known that. I assumed at the time when I got the kit, well, here it is, the new millennium, 2003, when I bought this thing, and give me better decals for it. The decals in this kit were no more different than it was over 43 years ago. I used almost 8 coats of decal solution, and still didn't get it down to like the way I wanted. So I have to live with it. This model will never see the judge's table. It'll be in my collection domain. So again, it's a good kit. If anybody wants to buy one of these Revell jobs, they're hard to find in the hobby shops because they only release so many of them and go to something else. eBay probably the best source to find them. They're out there and they can be found. So again, I can't stress anymore. I suggest getting the Trumpeter 1/32 scale kit. It'll be worth the weight in gold. Before I close my YouTube presentation, I'd like to tell a bit of history about this aircraft. The F4F Wildcat entered service back in 1936. It was actually the first mainstay of the fighter air group on carrier shipboard aircraft. It was the predecessor of the F2A Buffalo. And the F2 Buffalo was a flop. It was a fast airplane. They used that too in World War II also. During the Lend-Lease program, they were sent to England, and the English used them a lot, especially in India. The perky little, fat little F2A Brewster Buffaloes, they're pretty short-lived in the Navy carrier fleet. The F4F was its successor, and it became the mainstay of the United States Navy throughout the Second World War. In the beginning of the Second World War, right after the attack of Pearl Harbor, the Wildcats had a weakness to them, and the Japanese knew it. They had a power problem. Plus, we had a lot of inexperienced pilots back then. We didn't have any seasoned veteran pilots. We were pressing the war. We had to use what we had and make good use of it until better aircraft came along. So the weakness of the Wildcat was the power. It always had a stalling problem. And like I said before, the Japanese knew it. And the Japanese always will lure in the rules of engagement into an outer circle. When the Jap Zero would go into a circle, the Wildcat would follow. By the time the Wildcat would get almost on its back, it would stall out. And you got to remember, the zero is by here. By the time it stalls out, and the Wildcat would stall, and time the pilot would regain control of the aircraft, the Zero nailed him. So that was that with that. And so experience teaches us the tactics. And Lieutenant Thatch in the Battle of Midway was an ace. He and Pappy Boynton, Joe Foss, they revolutionized the Wildcat. They had better tactics than getting to a challenge a nimble Zero into out of the circle. That's one during the rules of engagement they never done that because they found out they lost all the Wildcats by that tactic. And during late 1943, the F4F Wildcat was remanufactured by General Motors. It was redesignated as the FM2. They spun it more. The engines were more powerful. The White Cyclone was completely rebuilt. They had a larger tail area, and it became the mainstay until the end of the hostilities. And there's a few out there flying today. Hermicam, that's a good example. Get on YouTube, so you go there and watch Hermie Van, and he has a F4F Wildcat, and walk around and take off. There's no hydraulics on the Wildcat, no electric for the wings and the landing gear. The landing gear had to be retracted manually. Same thing, the wings had to be manually folded and extended. Well, folks, the hands of time right there is telling me to get off here because I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to get cut off or rejected, so got to keep it to 10-minute limit, and that's about it. Time's going short. I'd like to thank everybody viewing my YouTube presentation and tuning in. And have a very safe day, and take care of yourselves, and catch you next time. And please subscribe. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye now, fellas.